What's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for joining me. Another acting tip of the week. And thank you so much for your patience. I put out a video a few days ago to make up for last week, so I promised you another one at the end of this week. So now we're back on track, okay? So today I was in a pretty interesting position because I had a few last-minute self-tape auditions that I had to put together. And when that happens, it can be tough because, there's a lot of pressure on yourself to sort of get the material out quickly. And unfortunately, I had a lot of lines thrown at me. I think I had 3 scenes from one project, and then I had a monologue from another one, and they were both due at 1 o'clock today. So I woke up early, I printed everything off, I was reading through things like I had mentioned in a previous acting tip of the week video. It's just, for me it helps just to keep reading things over and over and over again. I'll add a link to that in the description of this video. You can check it out. But today I just want to run through a few really quick tricks that you can use to help speed up your self-tape process if you have a lot of lines thrown at you and you're under a tight deadline, okay? And these are really great things to just sort of help you stay focused on the performance rather than worrying about memorizing the lines, because ultimately that will show through and it can kind of, defeat your chances of booking a role. So yeah, let's just talk about those things. So basically, number one, okay, this is tip number one, trick number one. You can use a computer monitor or even your television to read the lines, from the screen while you're doing your self-tape, okay? So basically all you do is you set up your monitor. Okay, so here, let's take a look at my monitor here, okay? So here's my computer screen, right? So basically all I would do is set this up behind my camera while I'm filming myself so that my computer monitor is my eye line, okay? So that's basically what I did. I was in front of this wall here doing my scene. I had my computer monitor moved back, the camera on the tripod, and I can look at the screen and do the scene. So that's how I did the monologue. And it was a Shakespeare monologue, so obviously the language is a little bit more complicated. It can be tough. And, using that eye line, just reading it off the screen, focusing on the lines, taking the time to, react, using my body to react, it makes the process a lot easier. So that's trick number one, okay? Use a monitor, use a TV screen, something that you can set as your eye line, and then just read the lines down the screen, okay? Simple. All right, number two is if you don't have the technology to kind of set things up yourself, that's okay. What you can do is then just set up your framing in a way to where you can't see the paper in your hands, okay? And a lot of the times, agents, casting directors, whatever, they don't mind if you read with the lines in your hand. Some will say in the breakdown explicitly, be off book. So that means know the lines, memorize the lines. But for the most part, especially last minute self-tape auditions, people are usually pretty cool about you reading lines off the paper. So if all you have is the actual lines at your disposal, that's okay. Hold them in your hand, but make sure that they're not in the frame, okay? Don't hold them up here and read them. Keep them down low, or frame the camera in a way to where it's just your head or your neck and nobody can see your hands or your arms or whatever you're holding. Okay, and then that way as you're reading lines, you can kind of just casually, glance down, see, the one line you need to remember, and then go right back up to talking, okay? And that's another great way to kind of just sort of bypass everything and, not worry so much about, whatever you're holding in your hands. Who the hell is texting me? My phone is freaking out, both my things. So that was trick number two, okay? Trick number three, and this kind of pertains to more so the editing process rather than, what you do in your self-tape. But, so when you're doing your self-tape, if you flub or make a mistake, don't cut the footage, okay? Just keep going. Take a beat, pause, and then just keep reading the lines, okay? And then when you finally get through the whole scene, even if you do it line by line, that's okay. Don't worry about that. However slow it takes you, that's fine. Then when you get into post-production, so when you actually take, your memory card out of your camera, or if you have the footage on your phone, you transfer it over to your computer where you're gonna upload that to the casting site or wherever, the breakdown site. In post, all you do is just edit out the dead spots, where you made a mistake. Okay, and that's very easy to do. It's literally just looking at the timeline, and then every time you have, a section where you screw up, just cut it out so that it does an immediate cut from your last line to your next line, just a nice continuous motion. And if you make sure you have the camera on a tripod so that image doesn't move, it will look really clean. Especially if you're standing in one place and you're physically not moving a lot, no one will even really be able to tell that you actually made a cut because you're kind of in the same position, and the movements, you know, the juxtaposition from one scene to the next will be very subtle. So you'll be able to kind of, whoever's watching it is not going to be caring about, oh, that was a weird cut, why did that happen? No, they're not really going to worry about that. They're going to be looking at your performance. They're just going to care that you did the scene, you knew the lines, you know, you were able to get through it, and they're going to be looking at the other aspects of your self-tape audition, which is like, you know, the way you look, how you sound, you know, maybe the way you mold yourself into the role by what you're wearing, you know, what you're doing, if you look right for the part. So yeah, so those three things together, you should be able to put together any kind of, you know, quick self-tape audition you need to, regardless of how many lines you have. And again, it helps if you have a reader. I think that's probably trick number 4. Always get someone to read the lines with you. I feel like when you get a scene up on its feet and you can rehearse with somebody, that actually helps you gain more of a memory for the lines. And just that energy when you're reading with somebody else really allows you to feed off of that and, you know, keep that momentum going. And it can really amplify your scene and, you know, have you do a really good job. So those are my 4 tips you can take away. I hope they help. You know, those things definitely translate, and I hope they can help you and, you know, help you book roles and build your success as an actor. So again, thank you so much for watching. Acting Tip of the Week with Chase Yee. You can find me on Instagram at @ChaseYee_. Or if you want to follow us, Doyen Artists, you can find us on Instagram at Doyen Artists. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel. So thank you so much. Okay, we'll see you next week with another tip. All right, later.